Congratulations on a pretty impressive performance. I know you hold yourself to a very high standard, but that seemed pretty flawless. As you sit there right now, how do you feel about things tonight?
No, I feel great. Just love to start off strong on the first ever UFC BJJ. I mean, even being on this, this is a crazy opportunity, and I'm just so grateful.
I was going to ask you, I mean, you've been competing at a high level for so long in your life, but to be in this, like you said, the first UFC event in Las Vegas, family, friends, everybody in it. Nerves tonight, special feeling, what was it like for you?
It actually was the weirdest feeling I've had before any match, fight, any tournament, because we were in Vegas and it's a UFC event, and this is my dream since I was a little girl. So I actually was more pumped up, and it felt like I was supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in this position I am right now, and I got a little nervous right before, but even walking out and hearing the music and hearing my family and my friends and teammates and coaches, I can't do anything else but smile, because it just feels so unreal that I'm already here.
Yeah, spectacular. You proved you belong here. How close was it in the first? Did you think you were going to have the submission in the first round?
Yeah, I did. I kept getting into that head and arm position, and I genuinely thought I was going to get it. I just should have pushed her head to my elbow a little more. Just small details I got to work on when I get back on the mat for training. But Coach McGregor and my dad, they literally talked in the round I was listening to them. When she bellies out and she turns into you, she's going to go right into the darce, and she walked right into it.
Worked out perfectly. As you said, this first UFC event, what'd you think of the competition surface itself? Obviously, everybody's kind of getting used to that. What did you think of it?
Being at such a high level with wrestling, and now I feel like I'm at a high level with jiu-jitsu, being in the same room with Mikey and Andrew Tackett is on the other side of the room, it just feels so surreal. I honestly can't explain it, that I could even be on a level with these people, in the same room with them. It's just crazy, and I'm just so grateful that I'm here.
That's awesome. Last thing for me, I mean, we know the ultimate dream, right? But I mean, you're fighting mixed martial arts, you're doing submission grappling, wrestling has still been part of your life as well. What is the plan? I mean, do you feel like you have to specialize at some point and just go down one path, or do it all? What's the plan for you?
I mean, my plan's working right now. I'm just doing all three all the time. Got U23 Worlds in October for wrestling, made Team USA, wrestling in Serbia. Got my fight in July, my 4th pro fight. I just love doing all three, and if it gets to the time, let's say 2028 comes around and I'm in a really good spot for the Olympics, and right now I'm ranked number 3 in the country for the senior level athletes, not even collegiate. And if that time comes around, then maybe we got to specialize for Olympics. But I'm just living my day by day and just being present in the moment. So if that time comes, we'll think about it later.
Right here. You're talking about, grappling, MMA, collegiate wrestling, possibly Olympics. Just doing them all at the same time, how do you deal with avoiding burnout then? Because it's something to do go to school, but to do something physical all the time must, wear on you.
Being at North Central and wrestling with Joe Norton and Grant Zaman, have my 2 head coaches, they do such a good job not burning me out. And if I don't need to wrestle a tournament because it's not anything on my ranking or regionals or nationals, why do it? Or if we need to take a couple days off from practice, they're so good at just making sure that we're training properly and smart and not getting injuries. And it's the same when I come back home and I'm training for jiu-jitsu. My dad and my coaches are just really good with my training, and they do such a good job with making me feel not burnt out.
And then it's one thing to be in a collegiate match and have the last name Mir. It's another thing to be competing under something with the 3 letters UFC. So are you ready for girls and women, they might want to match up with you because you do bring attention, second fight of the night, and you might be one of the only prelim people we talk to. So you might bring the attention that they might not get if they face someone else. So I guess, are you ready for people are going to want to match up with you, thinking they can make a name off yourself?
Oh, I've dealt with that since I was younger. When I was actually younger, I wasn't allowed to compete in my first ever jiu-jitsu tournament till I was a green belt, because my dad was freaking out, your name, they're gonna try to rip your arm off, or you're gonna go, when I wrestled boys in middle school, how would I have guys that were in high school and dropped down to middle school division just to try to beat me up? And I've dealt with that my whole life, so I'm honestly used to it just because of my last name. And my dad's been really good preparing me for that like my whole life.
Well, to kind of go off of that, what's it like? Because your dad is probably one of the sharpest minds we've had in this sport, just from the beginning to now. What's it like to just be around him all the time? Because is it just constantly talking about like techniques and tactics, or is he sometimes just have you pump the brakes and just be dad sometimes?
This is actually so funny you say that. In my parents' bedroom, they have carpet, so it'll be like a normal Tuesday night, like after training, and he's just in the room. He's like, Bella, like I was like imagining this like in half guard and like going to octopus and grabbing the foot, and I'm like, this guy like never takes a break ever. Like he props his iPad up while he's sleeping, listening to philosophy, jiu-jitsu matches, like just hearing it while he's sleeping, because he's saying, oh, they did a science study where if you're sleeping and you're listening to this, like you're getting so much information. And I'm just like he's just on a different level, like of like dedication with his like intellect and his love for the sport. Like I've never met anyone like that, like ever in my life.
Do you think he'd ever come back to commentating, like for stuff like this?
Oh yeah, he wants to. He wants to commentate. He wanted to commentate for this, but I think just having me on the card would kind of been weird, like trying to coach me and commentate. But no, he wants to commentate for MMA and jiu-jitsu. Like that's just his passion. And he was just telling me yesterday, he's like, man, like I can't wait for my knee to feel better so I could go back to doing like IBJJF Masters. I'm like, do you want to like take some time off? like you're like kind of beat up from fighting for 25 years, but he doesn't see it that way. He just loves to do it.
Have you started breaking down your upcoming opponent for Fury FC?
Yeah, we actually were breaking her down before this match because we were told her name first before Carol's. But yeah, no, I've been training for that too. I was at sparring last week. I just didn't spar today because I had the match today. If I didn't have the coaches that I have right now, I probably would have went to sparring this morning. But they're always having to tell me to not go to training. But yeah, no, I've been training for this nationals on Friday for IBJJF. I got that on Friday. Have 2 matches. Might do the open. We'll see. And then I got my fight in July. And then I'm still wrestling over at Gold Rush, making sure that I'm not losing my wrestling for October.
What are your thoughts on the matchup of Beerly? She has a decent amount of hype, right? So is it just kind of just go in there and impose your will?
Oh yeah, no, my coaches were really good at breaking people down, and we know that she loves to bang up on her feet, and we're just working a lot on our angles on our feet and working with our jab and getting to our shots. And my training partners over at the UFC PI, they're really good at imitating her for my sparring rounds, and I've just been prepping for her.
And for anybody that hasn't been up to date on your college wrestling career, what's kind of like the footnotes of it thus far?
Like accolades?
Yeah.
So NCAAs, I got runner-up this year. And then US Open, I also got runner-up. So going into the collegiate year for NCAAs this year, ranked number 1 in the country. And then the senior level for wrestling, ranked number 3 or 4. So, yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Hey, Bella, back here.
Oh, wait, I'm also U23 national champion, world team member. Sorry. I forgot about that. That was just all this year, though. But yeah, so got my second All-American title this year. U23 all champ and world team member. Am I missing anything?
You're pretty good when you can't remember it all.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Back here, Bella.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm curious, going back to that with the college stuff, obviously, the last couple of years, athletes being able to just really take advantage of the NIL deal now. Obviously, first UFC NIL athlete. Can you just talk a little bit about how that works and just what it's been able to do for you in your career in college over there?
Yeah, so the UFC and Dana, they just helped me out with school, so and my housing, and they also give me entry to facilities like the Apex and the PI, and I'm able to, get on the Icon meals and the supplements. So I get a lot of the benefits that the fighters do. Just not fighting in the UFC right now, but in the future, of course.
And then I did want to ask, obviously, your dad, a lot of history with the company and all that. I'm assuming growing up, plenty of the belts and the other stuff have been around the house. Did you get to walk through the hallway and see his jersey when he coached the show and everything?
Yeah, I love walking through the PI and seeing his name, seeing his face on the champion wall. It's just so cool, living in his legacy. I feel like his legacy isn't over yet. Still coaching me and still being around the sport. I just love that I get to be a part of that, and he's one of the greatest.
I don't think there's too many college athletes getting to compete and stuff on UFC Fight Pass compared to the other sports. What do your friends and teammates in college think about everything you got going on this summer?
Oh, they love it. They think it's so cool. I practice. We'll be at practice at North Central, and I'll put girls in triangles and stuff just to keep it fun. And I always will teach girls from closed guard this is how you do an arm bar, or they want to learn how to do a teep kick or anything. I just love my teammates that support me and love being around it.
Probably not so much now that you've been in college, but high school and maybe a little younger, did you ever feel like people were trying to step up to you because the last name Mir?
Yeah, throughout my entire life, people always were trying to hurt me or trying to I beat Bella Mir because of who she is. I've always just had that, and it's never bothered me. I understand they want to prove something. I just love the competition. I love competing with people, and whoever it is, I just love testing myself all the time.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Bella, you said something there interesting. Sometimes we hear children of athletes talk about being in their parent's shadow, but you said you're in his legacy. Why do you have that? It's the better mindset, obviously, but why do you have that mindset? Then sometimes we hear these people trying desperately to get away from their parent. Why do you have the mindset that you do?
I think just growing up like that, throughout my whole life, it's always been, oh, that's Frank Mir's daughter. That's Frank Mir's daughter. I have a name, you could say Bella. So I've always just dealt with that. So instead of going into fights and matches oh, she's not going to be as good as her dad. Her dad used to break their arms. She's waiting for them to tap. It's okay. I love people that talk crap and love to try to bring me down, and it honestly just gives me more momentum, makes me want to just train more and just prove everyone wrong.
I'm sure you've touched on this, but let's talk timeline and schedule. You mentioned 2028 and things like that. Do we have to wait around until then before you get in the UFC or Contender Series or something like that? Or what's the timeline in your mind and the perfect entrance to the top tier?
Well, that's a good question. Honestly, if it was up to me, I probably would be doing all of it at the same time, what I am right now. But I also feel I see what, honestly, if I had to be super realistic, I feel I'll have a couple prelim fights for the UFC, and then once 2028 comes around, then I'll be okay, is it okay if I don't fight just this year for 2028? I feel I could see that happening, or I could see it happening just wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu and just fighting on UFC Fight Pass, and then signing with the UFC right after 2028. It's also Dana's call. I have meetings with him a lot, what my future looks like and what he wants me to do. And he pushes college wrestling a lot, and he also pushes 2028. He wants me to go down that route too. So it's just a lot of talking with people close to me and what's best.
John, you might know this. You might be the first active UFC fighter to compete in the Olympics then, rather than the other way around.
Probably. Yeah, because Sarah McMahon waited till after. So did Henry, and so did Kayla.
That's why Dana's pushing it. He wants to see this.
I mean, now that you say that, because I never thought about that, now I want to do that because I'm always trying to just push myself. So thank you for that. Now I'm going to actually do that.
One of the coolest things, I think, when we interview your father is obviously very smart. We can ask him one question and he talks for 15 minutes. You're probably one of the only people in the world that can just say, Dad, quiet. Do you ever, when you're at the house, do you ever get moments of silence, or do you ever have to say, Dad, stop, enough, I just wanna chill out, or do you just let him do his thing?
No, I just let him do his thing. I'm not. Are you gonna tell him to be quiet? I'm not gonna tell him to be quiet.
You could. We can.
I don't think. I don't know. My dad's like super, super nice. Like I'm not like yes, he's like scary, but when he starts talking and like rambling about something, I just listen because he's always teaching me something, so I might as well listen.
Well, you should go back and watch the post-fight on the video. There's a moment you could see the pride in his face. And we've been covering your father for over a decade. I remember when you used to come out and he'd be hitting mitts, and there you were running around, and he'd make everybody stop to watch you do some move, and you could see the pride on his face. Seeing what was out there right there today, seeing you closer and closer to the UFC, do you think this is, obviously your NCAA career, wrestling is great, do you think this is maybe something that he's the most proud of, or what do you think he's the most proud of for your career so far?
Ooh, I think every time like my dad has interviews and they ask him like similar questions like that, I think he's just proud that he feels like I'm like trying to set the bar even higher than like what he set it at. So if I had to guess like what he's proud of, I think he's just proud that I'm just trying to reach that next level and higher than what he left at. And when it comes to like our last name and what our legacy looks like.
And if I can remember right, but even back then, he said it wasn't him pushing you into this. It was always your drive and your dream. So when a lot of parents push their kids into what they did, this has always been your dream.
Yeah, I told my dad when I was, I think the second time he got the belt, because he wanted to get a third belt, just because he has 3 kids. And I told him, you don't need to get me one, I'll get my own.